This is the current stock market update for BigBear.ai, stock ticker BBAI. Before we begin with today's stock market analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons. Leave your thoughts below in the comments section so that other traders can find this information more easily on the platform. What we are looking at here is the weekly time frame. Each candle represents a full week's trading period. And in this case, what we're really looking at is the entire history of the stock. So essentially, this goes back to roughly April 2021 back here. And this is useful information because it kind of gives us a better idea of where the stock has actually traveled over time. What might be most interesting to people is that this initial rally was actually, a valid price movement here to the top side. The stock did actually gain itself above $16 per share, which really seems a bit difficult or impossible at this point, given the way the trend trajectory has unfolded since then. Most recently, I think that the stock has sort of found its identity, and I think that we can really look at this recent price action, price history as being the bigger indicator of where the stock is likely to go next. So as we can see, what we're currently dealing with as far as the structure is concerned would be a symmetrical triangle pattern. We've got a series of lower highs, but we also have a series of higher lows. So in some sense, that can be referred to as a period of indecision. Essentially, the market is not really able to make up its mind in some sense until you see a clear break of one of these trends. So I would now call your attention to the most recent price action, as we can see here, because the stock is now clearly breaking below that upward sloping trend line. As this has happened, you've also seen two other factors start to develop. Number one, we're dealing with a major reduction in trading volume. So what that tells you is that the stock is just not getting as much market attention as it was getting previously. When you're dealing with a meme stock, something that has been trending on social media for a long period of time, that is one of the worst things that can possibly happen. This is not, if you're long the stock, this is not what you want to see. You do not want to see market interest leaving. Because if we just go back in time a little bit here, what we can see is that in order for the stock to really gain and see major rallies, we needed to see movements higher in trading volume. So as we can see right here, the stock price moves higher. You've also got this surge with these green trading volume bars. So there's a lot of interest in the market. There's a lot of mentions of the stock on social media. It's got sort of a cute sounding name. It's also about AI. So not totally surprising that the retail community gets into a name like this. But as we can see, the reverse now is starting to happen. Clearly, market interest is leaving, and this has only had a negative effect on the overall price trend. Finally, I'll just make one more negative point supporting that outlook, and then I will give one positive part of the picture before I close the video. Because right here, as we can see, that symmetrical triangle formation is breaking to the downside just as momentum in the moving average convergence divergence, this is the MACD indicator, just as this is crossing below the zero line, as you can see here. I mean, this is not debatable. What this tells you is that market momentum is clearly turning negative. I mean, there's no other way to spin that. And then in addition to that, as you can see, you've also got room to extend further to the downside before we start to reach oversold territory. So that's a problem because if we go back in time here, we can see several instances where the MACD indicator was trading at much lower levels. For example, back here, where would the stock price be if the momentum reading continued and reach some of these lower price levels that we're seeing, in the price history? So, clearly we're not there yet. And what this means is that, there's still further room that can be moved in the negative direction before we start to see something that would resemble a bounce. When you do get into oversold territory, that is when you can hope for, maybe a turnaround in share prices, but we're not there yet. And the overall structure is clearly breaking to the downside. The last point that I'll make here, and this is actually positive so that we can try to give a bit of a, balanced viewpoint here. We don't want to just say one aspect or one outlook. But the main positive part of the story that I would refer to here would be the fact that share prices are now moving into the -2 standard deviation. That would be this green dotted line here at the bottom of these channels. Only about 2 or 3% of all price action would be expected to be contained below that area. So in many instances, this does work as a reversal point. Now, I think that you need to see that happen relatively soon. I think if we start to break below that -2 standard deviation, I think that what is more likely to occur would be a normalization or a sideways movement in these standard deviation channels. If that were to occur, the -2 standard deviation would no longer be expected to work as a support zone, and we would revert to this prior trend outlook in the momentum reading, which would suggest that the stock still has further to decline before we see any substantive or meaningful bounce to the top side.